This is mutinous. This is an affront to gastronomy. This is unearthly disgusting. Get me better ingredients. Hello and welcome. I'm Ash Mannix, and once again I'm playing the house in Fata Morgana. In the last part of the playthrough, Giselle was marched back to the mansion by the villagers and confronted Michel, who had came out in all his splendour and frightened the villagers off, who thought he was a demon because of his pale skin and white hair and red eyes. As we suspected, he looked just like the girl with the white hair, and is afflicted with the same colour of skin and hair and eyes that got her ostracised in the previous stories. And at that point, Giselle, I think, had given up and was just asking Michel to kill her. He was confused because he had thought that she had seduced his father and just been trying to get information from him so that she could sell it off. So basically he thought the worst of her intentions, and then her reaction to that kind of caught him unawares, that he was confused, and he realised that they really needed to have a chat, and brought her back into the mansion. And then everyone just Giselle told him the true story, what had actually happened to her, and Michel just soaked it up, and he apologised. Giselle got him to apologise for being an asshole and threatening her, bringing out a knife, which apparently, Giselle was absolutely frightened of because of the treatment, the abuse he had gotten from his father. And then rightfully so, she had told him her story. So she had asked him about his, and Michel had told us that because when he was born, because of the colour of his skin, his eyes and his hair, and because he can't stand out in the sun for more than a couple of hours before he starts to burn, so he's oversensitivity to the sun. His mother was convinced that he was a demon, and it broke her mind. I think that might have been the cause for her going insane. And so he was banished to this mansion. His father apparently believes he is dead, but the mother, I think, banished him to the mansion. So she knows he's alive, and both of his brothers, I suspect, know he's alive too. It just seems to be his father doesn't know. But as we've come to know up to this point, his father is a complete and utter piece of shit. So probably, I'm assuming he would have wanted Michel dead. One thing I found, there's many things I liked from that conversation between the two of them, but one of them was when he said, "When you saw me outside, you must have thought that I was a demon," and she was like, "No, I thought you looked like an angel." Thought that was I don't know, maybe a big sop. I like that. It was nice because he does look like, it depends on how you interpret it, interpret the look, but he does look quite angelic in a sense. But anyway, enough waffle from me. Let's gonna hide my face and let's just jump back into this. So I'm gonna inspect my memories, and let's go to the most recent one. So we had so this is, I think, what had happened was that was the true story of how they met and what had happened. Allegedly. And so we've now come back to the quote-unquote the present, wherever we were, with the maid, Giselle. And we're going to see what happens from here. Let's load life in the light. Yes, let's go. Ooh, let's prepare myself mentally. Look at the chains in the background. The light shining. I don't know who's talking. I'm going to assume it's Michel because we're looking at Giselle. The light shining in through the windows is swallowed whole by the darkness, as if to say our time together never actually existed. We saw it though. Together, we watched. Ah yes, so together they were to watch what the true story of how they met and who they are, I think. We saw it though. Together we watched the light crack open the darkness. I'm begging you, please remember. Please find yourself. Please, Giselle, don't let the things you felt, the warmth that fell over us, remain lost to you. I might have seen it. Seen that most beautiful light. Giselle, but are these truly my memories? Could they not be someone else's tale, like all the others we have seen so far? She was so bright and energetic, and I am neither of those. Besides, the maid needs not a tale of her own. This is not a story. These are memories. Mine and your memories, no one else's. It was all very much real, as were the kinder, happier days that came next. Kinder, happier days. Those words create a strange warmness within my chest, but at the same time they make me indescribably anxious. Is there really happiness to be found down that road? Even if our past doesn't lead to happiness, it couldn't be worse than where we are now. Come, Giselle, to the spring that made us more than just strangers. Oh, where are we going? Are we going back to the story again? Okay. Master, come on, get up. Up with you. Master! I don't want to wake up. Leave me be. What? See, what did I tell you? Look how bright this room is. It's so much nicer in here with a little light. Morning. Wait a sec. Don't you hide under your bedspread. Get out of there. I'm fine with my room staying dark. I can relate with Michelle. What's she even doing in here? I'm totally going to get copyright strike for this music, but this music is awesome. Oh, but Master, you agreed that I could open the windows. I did, yes. Don't worry, I've put curtains up. If it gets too bright, you can draw them. Mornings take the best parts of being outside and squeeze them all into the same few hours. You don't have to go outside in the sunlight for it either. Just listen to all the wonderful sounds. The joyous songs of the birds, the swaying of the trees, the rustling leaves. Am I being as pushy as I feel right now? I mean, don't... Yeah, but that's just you. Kind of. But you wouldn't be you if you weren't. So for now, I won't get on you about it. Yes. Yes, Michel. Also, now that I know your real intentions, no, never mind. I completely misjudged you. You're the exact opposite of what I thought you were. What did you think of me? Let's see. I thought you were cold and cruel, heartless and incomprehensible. But I'm beginning to get a better idea. You try to put on airs, but you're really rather childish. You have a short temper, but can be surprisingly playful. What else? No, don't tell me what I am. You have a pretty difficult personality too. There's not a single good trait on that list. Now, hear me out here. That's not everything. You gave me a chance to talk, and you listened intently. You can be kind of nice, too. We agreed that we would live together, not just in the same house, so we've got plenty of time to add more to the list. And I hope you can make your own list about me, too. Let's not make lists, I don't know. This is just the beginning, after all. We've got a long, long time ahead of us. Plenty enough to get to know each other, no? This was the clip we saw when we entered his room. So we got the key from the painting and then we entered his room in the mansion in quote-unquote present time. And this was the clip from that, I believe. We saw this memory. Let's not waste any time then. What do you say we do something today that we haven't been able to do before? Where should we begin? Oh, I know. We can get this place cleaned up. You want to clean? Now that there's some actual light in here, we can see all sorts of things we'd probably rather not. Like my face. Like dust. All over the place. My vision was still slightly unfocused, having not completely escaped from Morpheus's embrace. But I could see well enough to catch her smiling brightly. Morpheus? Is that the darkness? That was the first time I'd gotten a good look at her in the light. I could see facial features I had missed during yesterday's commotion, and those glittering eyes. Not even a trace of the tribulation she had endured tainted her pure jade eyes. She's surprisingly good looking. Look at you, Michel, smitten. I am clearly not myself right now. Is something the matter, Master? I know, you're still half asleep, aren't you? Ah, Giselle. Wait, was that there before? What is that? I'm guessing I'm just going to have to throw my best bucket of water on you. What is a best bucket of water? I'm awake. Is there something on my face then? Just far too amusing a sight to wake up to. Ah, amusing? Oh, just get out of bed already. What a noisy morning. I got my first decent look at Michel's... Oh, this is Giselle. I got my first decent look at Michel's face under the light that morning, watching him stiffly yawn as he crawled out of bed. All the little details I hadn't been able to pick up on in the darkness, his expressions, mannerisms, and the way he looked at me. I could see facial features I had missed during yesterday's commotion, and those vivid, all-consuming red eyes. Oh, she was smitten too. Look at this, look at these two. I was probably, no, almost certainly, making a really dumb face at him. I mean, look at this dude. They've both got amazing, amazing eyes. Is it just me, or is he kind of? No, very pretty. Yes, he is. How could I have not noticed until now? Oh jeez, wow, I can't look him in the eyes. Yes, but what can I do for you? Is there something on my face? Wait, what? She just said that as well. Well, no. Did he say that before? I don't know. Huh? Hair monster? Excuse me? No, your hair, it's really long. Yes, that's it. Way too long. His hair is like amazing, man. Damn. Ho ho. Is that any way for a servant to speak to her master? I'm just kidding. I don't have any interest in holding your status against you anymore. I see. It's really hard to tell if he's joking or not. Yeah, his smile is a little bit forced, eh? That's a slightly forced smile. So, about that cleaning. May I wash my face first? What, you're going to help? As I just said, I'm not going to act like I'm superior to you anymore. What are you snickering about? I can't help it. I'm happy. If my hair really does bother you, you can cut it. Huh? I can cut it? Of course. I'll give you the best haircut you've ever had. Oh, but I should warn you, you want to stay perfectly still. I'm a monster with a pair of scissors. My sister always said you were as likely to lose an ear as you were your hair whenever I cut it. That's not confronted. Whoa, bloody hell, that... What the fuck's this reaction? Oh, you stay away from me. Yes, I like his hair long. Looks good. I was shocked at how much more comfortable I felt around her. Oh no, this is now Michel again. I was shocked at how much more comfortable I felt around her only one day following our opening up to each other. Maybe this was normal, and I had simply never felt it before. I didn't know. I had thought it would take years of work to get close enough to someone to be able to have a conversation without picking apart every little detail. But here I was, a day later, already there. Was that how it usually worked? Did people normally get close and draw apart so freely? I didn't find it unpleasant to have someone else around. It was a strange feeling. All that friction had dissipated in an instant. It was like we had known each other for years. Though not entirely willingly, we began sharing meals, something I had always done by myself. Hey, I see you shoving aside that parsnip. You need to eat everything. Oh no. Do you have any idea why there was so much rotting parsnip in the cell? Man doesn't like his greens. I don't care for it. You could at least pretend to be ashamed. Yeesh, you're not a kid, so don't be so picky. It's not good for you. Hasn't caused any problems thus far. It will soon enough. I can't believe you. We have limited supplies and you won't eat your vegetables? He is a big kid, isn't he? Ooh, question. I've got an idea. Wait, question what? Go on. Is the list of supplies sent by your family set in stone? Meaning? I was just wondering if it was possible to make requests. If I could just go out on a shopping trip, jeez. Perish the thought. The only village around here is the one you came from. Oh, yeah. Right. Say, are you saying that out of concern for who would ever be concerned about you? I just want to be able to sleep well at night. I'm not interested in throwing more servants to the lions. You know, you're a whole lot simpler of a person than I first thought. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nothing. What? Is Michel Sundere? Back to your question about the delivery. Yes, you can. I haven't made any requests recently, but you can write what you want in a sheet of parchment, or if you don't have any, something similar, put it in a box and leave it outside. As long as your request is not completely unreasonable, it should arrive with the next package. Why? Is there something you need? Yeah, I was hoping to increase our selection of vegetables. Uh-oh. And while I'm at it, if possible... Actually, that's a secret. A secret? It's nothing too exciting. I'll tell you when the time is right. I don't like surprises. I've got a feeling Michel doesn't either. I wonder what it is. My relationship with Michel gradually transitioned from master and servant to something closer to friends. He was still my master, but he allowed me almost complete freedom. And he didn't order me around either. He even gave me a hand with my work. Though he was still not very talkative and oftentimes hard to read, he at least seemed to be making an effort to close the gap. He would on occasion tell me about himself, though not in much detail, and any time his family came up, he grimaced uncomfortably. Apparently his father had wanted him dead. His brothers, though, had worked to create a scenario in which he could live, faking his death and sending him to this remote mansion. Ah, so the brothers saved him. I had never encountered Michel's brothers while at his family's estate. Yeah, this is what I found interesting. She'd never mentioned them, and she's now saying here that she'd never met them. I wonder why and where they've been. But assuming he was right and it was one of them who had given me that letter, they were likely our only allies at that house. I don't know what he's thinking. It's been 10 years, Michel had muttered. To which I had replied, have faith. 10 years. It was better to believe in something, even if it felt silly and unreasonable, than to lose faith in everything. My being able to find renewed belief in the kindness of people was what had allowed me to start smiling again after all. Because I was able to have that faith, I was able to enjoy life once more. It wasn't an exciting or thrilling life. It was a humble, simple one with just the two of us. I wouldn't trade that light for anything. Some people might think it dull or dreary, but it was ours. Master, I really truly appreciate that you want to help with the cooking. I do honestly, but... He's shit at cooking, isn't he? This is apocalyptic. This is mutinous. This is an affront to gastronomy. This is unearthly disgusting. Get me better ingredients. This dude. What? I am not a bad cook. These are simply bad ingredients. If they were better, they would taste just fine boiled. Oh, Michel. And it's not as bad as you claim. Besides, you make a mockery of the culinary arts. I've been eating this for years. I don't see the problem. Oof. I've heard quite enough, Master. It sounds like I'm going to need to put your taste buds through some intense rehabilitation. I have to teach him what real food tastes like. Otherwise he won't be able to appreciate it if I make something really good. What's he just been doing? Just boiling everything? Charming. Hold the chair steady for me, will you? I'm going to wipe down the top shelf. I can handle it. I'm tall enough to reach without standing on a chair. It's not as simple as just running a rag over it. I've got practice, so let me take care of it, alright? There's a lot more dust than I expected. I probably should have used something to cover my mouth. You're going to want to hold your breath for this, Master. Alright, here goes. Dust everywhere. She's quite practiced. She was an Abigail at your parents' house. Is there any need for me to be holding the chair? Yes. Ah. Chew. What? What? Hold the chair. Oh wow. Ow. I'm so sorry. I didn't think there would be that much dust. Thank you for holding the... Oh? Master? Your hand is... Oh my god. What? Your hand is, it's on my... Oh man, did they just... They did, didn't they? My chest. It was an accident. Right. Right it was. It's fine, really. It was my fault anyway. It's completely, totally fine. I can't even look her in the eyes. Could this be more painfully awkward? Yes, it can. So don't worry about it, Master. Honestly, I should be apologizing for subjecting you to that. No, you shouldn't. But anyway, that's easier said than done. I have to do something about this stifling awkwardness. For one, it was only for a moment. I barely even realized what it was, but that's not the issue. I need some clever way to brush all this aside. Just say the weather is nice. Something witty that tells her I'm not bothered at all. I'm not concerned. In fact, I see no reason to be concerned at all. Michelle. What the fuck, Michelle? It felt like I was squeezing an obese rat. I hardly even perceived it as a breast. Obese rat? An obese rat? What? How utterly insensitive can you be? I'm going to rip every last hair off your head. Uh-oh. Grr! Leave my hair out of this. No, my gorgeous hair. He deserved that, man. What the fuck? Say, Master, what did you do all this time all by yourself? That's a loaded question. That's an exceedingly vague question. Say when you were really stupidly bored out of your mind, what did you do to keep yourself occupied? Where is this question? What is... Meditate? Good cover? Just how many times have you reached enlightenment? I sometimes played chess too. Chess? Wait, by yourself? Yes, I imagine how an opponent might react to my moves and play the other side that way. That's kind of depressing to think about. How about this, Master? Play a game against me. Do you know the rules? You bet I do. I do come from a family of merchants, so I keep up with trends and know all sorts of games. Chess a trend back then. Oh ho. Prepare to meet your maker. So, who was I supposed to prepare to meet again? Was he a chess grandmaster? Come on, have a little mercy, you trounced me. One more time. I just wasn't at the top of my game. When am I going to meet this maker? What? How? When did you put me in checkmate? One more. Ah yes, to play a sore loser. Hold on, that's not fair. Take it back. Ah, my king. Please stop. What an art. Look at the look, he's got the little fucking awkward smile. Amateur. Can't you just go a little bit easy? You never asked me to go easy. This isn't a game. This is a slaughter. This is a one-sided massacre. About this maker. Yeah, I'm looking right at him. That was actually kind of fun. No, it wasn't. It was miserable. Next time we're playing something fair. Such as... let's see. Oh, I know. Arm wrestling. Why? What? I suppose he is pretty weak. And she does a lot of manual work, so... arm wrestling. Yeah, you sit across from each other, put your elbows on the table, grab hands and see you can pin the other down. Who would ever willingly participate in such a primitive competition? Not interested then? Or are you afraid you might lose? Alright then. I can't imagine losing to a woman. Oh. This is gonna end badly. Okay, elbow on the table. Start on my count. Ready? Go! Whack. Gets trounced. Victory! Fun times. Look at that, the light in every room. I love how she smiles and he just closes his eyes. Wait, what's happening? With each passing day, it grew less and less unusual having Giselle always at my side. I began more freely engaging in silliness, speaking my mind and showing emotion. I could say her name, and Giselle would turn around and smile at me, an unimaginable sight not long ago. For 10 years I have lived alone. Solitude had been my normal, but that was very rapidly changing at our hands. We were continually getting closer, yes, but not in a romantic sense. If I had to describe it, I would say good friends was probably the most apt. Time continued to press on, our relationship remaining relatively stable. Eventually, summer came, bringing with it the longest periods of sunlight I had experienced in many years. Then, the leaves began falling from the trees, and before long, the world grew cold and dreary. That winter, the fireplace was never without a crackling blaze in its belly. The boiled wine we drank was undoubtedly middling and cheap, but she said with a smile, "I've never had wine this good before." And though I didn't say anything, I felt the same way. The sun set much earlier, and having stopped using candles, we found ourselves habitually gathering around the fireplace when it grew dark. Look at this. Reading a story by the fireplace like this almost makes it feel like we're in another world, doesn't it, Master? I bet that's why troubadours perform at pubs, so they can be near the fire. Or because there's ale. Look at you, you cynical jackass. Drunkenness makes even bad singing and storytelling pleasant to the ears. Oh, you're such a cynic. But that's okay. Say. Yes? Do you remember when I first arrived here? When I was cleaning the library? Please don't tell me you're bringing the obese rat incident back up. Wait, yeah, no, the first time she came in, not that time. No, not that. Before that. Before we could actually talk to each other. I believe I suggested we read something together if you ever felt the inclination. You might have. I can't say I remember. Are you sure about that? You turned down my proposal, saying I was wasting my time. But look, it actually happened. Even if you don't remember, I'm sure you never thought this moment would come. I was, for the most part, focused on making sure things didn't get any worse between us. But to be honest, I didn't expect there would ever actually come a time we would sit shoulder to shoulder and read a book. You never know how things might pan out. I actually do remember. I remember how I tried to push her away, how much I mistrusted her. I was nothing but hostile toward her. People change, and perhaps, if they can, so can the future. Maybe I can hope that, like our friendship, there's a chance the future might take a turn for the better. Is something the matter? I don't much care for hypotheticals, but if by some chance I were someday to be able to return to that house, should that time come, that house is home to her nightmares. Even if it didn't happen until after my father was gone, it wouldn't erase what he had done to her there. She acts like nothing's wrong, though. I don't know. Have her wounds healed, or do they still remain? Should that time come? Should that time come, if that day comes, I will do what I can to ensure you have a comfortable life in the city. Though I will not be able to inherit the estate, I can work something out. I see. Thank you very much. But if you would be comfortable doing so, I would be pleased if you were to join me. I mean as a servant. As a servant? Yes, a servant. We're, short on hands. I see. A servant. Do I really need to repeat myself? Yes, as a servant. All right, sure. I think I will. I would like to accompany you, Master. How exciting. I'm sure a wonderful future awaits us. I pray so. Now, back to the story. I believe we had just gotten to the point where the knight set out to defeat the monster and save the princess. I bet he was a big, buff, muscular knight. Let's not talk about how... Let's not talk about how muscular he was. She let out a gentle laugh, and I thought I smelled something sweet on her breath. What? Was it her scent, or perhaps just my imagination? I had no way of knowing. We sat so close, even the slightest shift seemed sufficient to allow me to hear the sound of her heartbeat, causing mine to accelerate. Curiosities flooded my mind. What might she be thinking right now? What does she think about me? And as much as I tried to banish them, I frustratingly failed. I was just getting caught up in the moment. I had just briefly lost my way, though I tried to convince myself otherwise. It was all in vain. When had my pulse gotten so rapid? When had my skin gotten so flushed? When? How? Why was this happening to me? I thought I had already learned my lesson about having feelings for someone else. Oh, okay. Interesting. Before long, winter retreated and our second spring came to take its place. A full year had passed since we had resumed living together. Wow, okay. It's a period of time. And I don't think it was my imagination that this year felt much warmer than the last. Spring seemed to have arrived a bit earlier than in previous years. One night, when the breeze carried on in a pleasant residual warmth, Giselle escorted me out to the garden. Come on, Master, hurry up. It's the middle of the night. What's so important? I just found it myself, and I couldn't wait until morning. A rose! It blossomed! A rose? Giselle had, over the past year, cleaned up the nest of weeds that had been strangling the garden. Off to the side of a small plot of turned soil, swaying in the wind beneath the moonlight, was a single red rose. If I remember correctly, in one of the stories, the white-haired girl was in the garden, and she picked up a white rose, a white rose? I think it was white. And then the maid, Giselle, when she came, she touched it, it turned red. I think I remember that. I might be misremembering. When did you... Last year, I requested flower seeds, but I just couldn't get them to grow, and I was starting to think they never would. But look, it's only one, but it did. I had no idea. Of course you didn't. I didn't tell you. Why would you keep it from me? I wanted to make it a gift for you, Master. What? Why? Roses make wonderful gifts, supposedly. No, that's not what I meant. Why me? I haven't given you anything. Consider it a symbol of my hope that we'll still be this close another year from now. If we are, then this is yours. I don't follow her reasoning. I don't follow it at all. But the sight of the deep red rose, almost melting into the dark night, was perhaps the most wondrous thing I'd ever seen in my life. I had never understood why some people found flowers so enchanting. They were always just plants to me. But that one on that night was undeniably beautiful, majestic. And like a young child seeing a flower for the very first time, my hand automatically reached out for it. Not knowing the proper way to appreciate flowers, I didn't gently caress its petals or take in its fragrance, but snapped its stem. Ooh. Oh, you picked it. Are you going to bring it back to your room? When I finally processed her question, that was when I realized I probably should have left it to grow in the garden. From the base of its stem, where I had plucked it, a droplet succumbed to gravity and fell to the earth. With it came the delayed realization that I had ended the plant's life. But it was overpowered by childish possessiveness. The stunning flower was mine. Moonlight trickled down from the heavens, giving a gentle bluish tint to my hands and the smile on her face. You're going to need a vase then? Give me just a minute. For the briefest moment, the moonlight must have played a trick on my mind. I remember this. Huh? Master? What on earth? Oh, what on earth am I doing? A look of bewilderment filled Giselle's face, just inches from mine, which hammered in the reality of what I had just done. The thought had just crossed my mind that perhaps her black hair might prove a good backdrop for the rose, but it was supposed to remain a simple fancy. What was that about? An excuse. I need a good excuse. A drawing. A drawing? Right, I would like to preserve it on canvas. What? I mean, that a rose on its own does not make a very compelling picture, so I would like to include you as an accessory. Wait, you want to draw me too? Michel, digging that hole. Merely as a background element. You're slightly more interesting than a vase, that's all. I've never seen you draw anything before. I just never got the urge. You know how? Many years ago my brother taught me. I don't think I can handle being a model. I've never had a drawing done of me before. You'd probably be better off with just the rose. You gave it to me, didn't you? That means I am free to do with it as I please. I did? I didn't mean to sound so rude. I had no real interest in drawing the rose, but I couldn't just take it back either. Giselle had shrunk back quite visibly, and I couldn't bring myself to look her into the eyes, so I fled to the cellar in search of supplies to escape the oppressive awkwardness. At the far wall I found a rectangular panel of wood and several sticks of charcoal. My materials were obviously nothing compared to what a court artist might use. I was clearly not going to be able to do the portrait any kind of justice. God, what am I doing? I want to bury my head in the sand. Giselle was waiting for me in the stained glass chamber. It seemed she was still just as uncomfortable as when I had left her. She gave me a fleeting glance before averting her gaze again. If only she would laugh or make a scene like usual, it would make things so much easier. Why did she have to choose now to start acting meek? What should I be doing? Stay perfectly still, please. Do you need me to pose or anything? No, just get comfortable. Look away. Why? It's hard to work when you're watching me. What? I feel like I have to sneeze. Hold it in, please. What now? Can I see it? I've barely drawn anything yet. As long as our eyes didn't meet, I was able to observe her, and my gaze was quite clearly not focused on the rose. I don't blame you. But Giselle, at first I had regretted my in-the-moment proposition, but I was beginning to think it hadn't been such a bad idea. Without some sort of pretext, I would never have been able to examine her so intently. I didn't have that kind of courage. This isn't like me. But what was like me? Did I prefer being a sharp-tongued, unapproachable recluse? Was that what I wanted to strive for? Giselle was like a gale. Mere presence dispersed the gloomy cloud that always hovered around me. Thinking about it is practically a miracle that we ever ended up so comfortable around each other. She is still here right now. Light from the moon spilled through the stained glass window, taking on a multitude of pale tones before falling on her white skin and jade eyes. I had stopped sketching at some point. Is this Giselle or Michel? What in the world is going on? Ah, right. Yeah, one of my roses had finally bloomed, which I thought would put a smile on Michel's face. But rather than improve his mood, it made him go all strange. It made him say he wanted to draw something. I had never seen Michel draw anything before. I can't sit still. I tried to sneak peeks of him every once in a while, but any time our eyes met, he gave me a stern, look that way stare. So I ended up spending a whole lot of time looking at the archangel in the stained glass window. What could he be thinking? Could this be thanks for the rose? I'm pretty sure he's not the type who would consider a drawing an expression of gratitude, though. If I'm wrong about that, I'll turn my whole world upside down. Maybe he wanted to draw me? No, not possible. That would turn the world upside down even faster. He couldn't. We're close, to be sure, but we're not that kind of close. That makes it sound like Michel's attracted to me. And there's no way. There's absolutely no way. He compares me to an obese rat and calls me an amateur at chess, laughing while he crushes me. So that's not what this is it? Huh? Oh yes. If it's too much trouble, you're free to leave. This might, well, take a very long time to complete. Oh no, no trouble. You had a very stern look on your face is all. I was doing that bad a job at hiding it. I don't want to force you to do anything you don't want. It was foolish of me to ask of you, I'm sorry. Honestly, it's no trouble, I mean it. You just took me by surprise, that's all. I'm not even that great of an artist to begin with. It's not a talent I was blessed with. If I'm being honest with myself, I can't imagine anyone would be pleased to have bad art drawn of them. What's he getting so negative about? I wasn't the only one making a face. His head was turned slightly downward, a forlorn shimmer in his eyes. I had never seen him make that face before. He resembled a child who had just been scorned by his mother. I wasn't at all angry or displeased with him. I was just fine, honestly. I had to get that through to him. I am pleased. It doesn't matter how it turns out. You drew it for me, master. Whether it's good or bad is irrelevant. I would but the moonlight shining through the stained glass was so enchanting. I lost myself in it. I'd be happy with anything drawn from me by the man I love. For an instant, time froze. By the time I realised what I'd said, my mind had gone blank and I couldn't form a coherent thought. I mean, like family. You're like an older brother to me. I meant love like a love for a brother. Hey, say something, Master. Give me your usual exasperated sigh. Come on now. Go on, give me your best good grief, then hurl me out the window. Oh, come on, please. Show me some disappointment. But, Master? What the fuck? When the wood panel he was using as a canvas and the charcoal in his hand crashed to the hard chapel floor, the clattering was so loud I jumped. I didn't have the presence of mind to wonder why he had knocked over the canvas, or why his hands appeared to be shaking. Let me help you with that. I stepped towards him. And when I did, the moonlight shining down upon us intensified, and our gazes of jade and ruby intertwined. There was a visible rosiness in his ethereally pale cheeks. Master? Flickers of panic darted beneath the surface of his normally stony red eyes. They were trembling as he looked over at me. I was at a loss for words. He must have been under the moon's spell. We weren't thinking. We stood alone in a frozen world, robbed of all rational thought. Riding the moonlight's current, his hand fell against my cheek. It was much colder than I had expected, but it felt pleasant on my flushed skin. As we drew closer, I could feel the warmth emanating from his body, and I'm sure he could feel mine. The beating of my heart too. His breathing stopped for a moment, then he gulped. He brought his head in. I closed my eyes and... Oh dear. Then I shoved him away with all my strength. Michel rolled back, knocked his head on the side of a pew and began groaning in pain, which is when I finally realised what I had done. But what have you done, Giselle? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Are you hurt? I'm fine. Sorry, you startled me. I really, truly didn't mean to knock you down. You should go back to your room. I'm sorry for all the trouble I've caused you tonight. But what? Get some rest. Good night. He turned away, marching off into the corridor and shrouded in darkness. There was a heavy air of loneliness hanging over him, which gave rise to phantom images of him actually disappearing into the darkness. I'd caused that, but I hadn't realised until it was too late. It felt like someone was sitting on my chest. Why would I ever do that to him? I mean, it's obvious. Of course I'm going to hurt him reacting like that. Maybe I was hoping he would say it was just one of his jokes. Do I want it to be a joke? I had that option. I could pretend nothing ever happened, and tomorrow go back to the way things were before. But if I did that, there would almost certainly never be a second chance. You were okay with it? You wanted it, Giselle. Quit lying to yourself. You're the one who said you loved him. Yeah, even I was taken aback by that. And that was no mistake. You wouldn't sit shoulder to shoulder and read a book with someone you didn't care for. You wouldn't enjoy eating supper with someone you didn't like. You wouldn't be able to live happily with someone you didn't love. You have to go after him, find him and tell him the truth. Oh, is she running after him? Oh. What am I doing, for God's sake? I'm not in my right mind. Something about me was off today. I couldn't control myself. I was saying things I didn't mean, doing things I didn't intend to. I had never meant to do that. But at this point, I had no choice but to admit my feelings. I couldn't pretend I didn't know what they were anymore. How long had I felt this way? A week? A month? 6 months? Or maybe a full year? Had they already developed when we started anew? No, the when didn't matter. It didn't change the facts. I was still attracted to her, regardless of when it had begun. Ah, but he pushed me away, quite literally. I sighed at myself. Why should I be disappointed? She was nothing like me. I was reclusive and unsociable. She was the exact opposite. She was the kind of person who would confidently tell someone how she felt, and she had done exactly that, said I was like a brother. Why, I hadn't listened. As a matter of fact, could I have been any more presumptuous? I don't deserve to love anyone. It's better this way. Master. But what? I told you to go back to your room. Master, I need you to listen to me, okay? What? About what just happened. That doesn't count. You can't count any of that. Huh? That I said I loved you and that I shoved you, they don't count. Ah, right, I was planning to forget that anyway. So don't worry. No, that's not what I meant. What I'm saying is that it's not something I should have said on a whim just because the moonlight was kind of pretty tonight. It wasn't supposed to be so casual. The way I said it doesn't get across at all how much I really care about you. It should have been something with more impact, rather. Me looking you straight into your eyes, my heart jumping around like it's on fire. That's how I should have said it. What are you... I'm saying, I want you to give me one more chance to do it right. Giselle. Calm yourself. I am calm. In no sense of the word are you calm. Fine then, I'm not calm, but I am clear-headed. I mean every last word. Listen very carefully. I love you. I love you so much, I feel like my heart is going to explode. What? Huh? You mean like family? Like a brother, right? Romantic love. Romantic. What? I wasn't upset back there. No, I was elated. What? My mind couldn't keep up with what it was hearing. Oh, half out of breath where she stood. Giselle was frantically insisting that she loved me. Was I dreaming? Master, how do you... I would like to hear how you feel about me. Assuming I interpreted that correctly, you were going in for a kiss back there, right? Right? So I can take that as your answer? I love how awkward this is. Giselle looked up at me with bleary eyes. She had feelings for me. It was a miracle. I could hardly breathe. I felt like someone had struck their hand in my chest and was squeezing my heart. I just had to say yes, and a smile would spread across her face. I could bring her joy, and all it would take was a single word. I had no reason to say no. It's a weird thing that you're saying that, but okay. My happiness was standing right there in front of me. What more could I ask for? All I had to do was reach out and claim it for myself. I had tried to do exactly that in the chapel, and I could do it again. I loved her. I was a twisted man, cast out of the world and left with nothing. I had no way to make her happy, but still I... Don't tell me you've forgotten what you are. Who's that? Tell me? There was no moonlight to give me that nudge. Do not feel that way about you. What? What? I got confused for a moment. I apologized for the misunderstanding that seems to have caused. What the hell? All the colour drained from her, like a flower wilting before my eyes. A heavy sigh spilled from her lips. Her jade eyes swayed lifelessly back and forth. I hadn't thought mere love could possibly have such weight, but she looked as though I had just told her she was to be executed. I see. I'm sorry. I let it get to my head. Sorry for making such a racket. Really, God, what was I thinking? I got way ahead of myself there. Her full energy hurt to watch. I had hurt her, and this was the result. You wanted to protect yourself, even if it meant hurting her. But look where that got you. You'd have been better off just going with it. Because when she learned the truth, she would have pushed you away anyway. Oh. I'm sorry, I'll be going now. Sorry for barging in on you like that. She made her way into the shadows toward the door. There, you did it. You preserved your peace. I got the feeling she would never again turn back. Your mistake was ever getting close to anyone. What I had always wanted was right there in front of me, and I was so close to obtaining it. And you pushed her away. I actually did love her. She would never love the real you. No, she couldn't. You're disgusting. I can't believe you actually had the gall to fall for me. Good night, Master. She was leaving. I wanted her here, and she was leaving. I simply had to acknowledge my feelings, and she would come back. Was I really content to let her go? In my weakness, I mistreated her. I hurt her. I let her go, and I was about to lose her. Even though she said she loved me, and I felt the same way. Wait, please don't go. Your voice is shaking like a scared child's. What are you hoping to tell her like that? She was different. She absolutely was nothing like anyone in my past. She won't be any different. I decided I would try just one more time. To believe in myself and to believe in someone else. I lied. Giselle, from the bottom of my heart, You will regret this. No, I won't. I sincerely love you. Well, runs back. The fragrance of rose enveloped me. Her arms, wrapped around my chest, were both imbued with strength and shaking like mad, as though the slightest touch might shatter them. Why did you just say that in the first place? She said in a quavering, snivelling voice just inches from my ear. I lacked sufficient control over my mind or body to return her embrace, to run my hands through her hair, to do anything more than support her weight. I'm sorry. Jerk, bully, brute. You don't get to play this one off as a joke. I am truly, sincerely sorry. You've given me two different stories. Tell me which one's the truth. Were you just confused, or do you actually love me? I mean, mate, yeah, Michelle, that was bad. That was bad. I want to hear you say it again. The truth is, I love you. Again, I love you. Without fumbling this time. I love you, as I've said several times now. Not good enough. Again. Have mercy, please. I'm about to die of humiliation. Can I really believe you this time? You're not going to say you were lying again? No, I won't. Then we both feel the same way about each other. Shockingly enough. What's there to be shocked about? I didn't think there was anything likable about me. You really have to do something about that pessimism. I'll try. I'm in heaven. I'm so happy I could cry. You are you are all over me. Oh, thank goodness, thank goodness. When you first said no, everything went black. I wasn't sure what I would do anymore. I had lost all hope. I really do feel bad about that. And you should, Michelle. I'm assuming there's a really good reason for it, but still, that was... Ooh. I mean, good thing he's admitted it to her before she, went back to her room, but still. But you had a change of heart. Now you're willing to have me. Yes. And everything I bring with me. I mean... That was the idea. Absolutely everything, right? Okay, what? You're pushing that point rather hard. I have a request. It's something I don't think I could ask you at any time, but now, while we're in the moment, oh, I will do anything, so long as it is within my ability. Tell me, what is it? Will you look at my naked body? What? More specifically, my scars. You are going to have to see them eventually, in which case I would like that to be now. A year ago, I had refused to look at her scars. I had been certain I wouldn't be able to accept what they represented. The abuse my father had subjected her to. If possible, I would have preferred never having to face that. But I, more than anyone, needed to know. It was my responsibility. I had to accept reality, not grimace or avert my eyes. I had to face up to what had been done to her. Okay. I couldn't bring myself to look at her as she hesitantly disrobed. The sound of her clothes rustling made me feel as though I was doing something incredibly improper. As much as I tried to feign calm, I was so tense my joints were practically creaking and my heart felt like it was being stepped on. I feel like I'm made of stone. I'm ready. You can turn around. All right. I'll count to 10. She's laughing at me. I feel a whole lot better seeing you so nervous. I'm turning around. Okay. Probably gonna have to censor this because YouTube will throw a hissy fit. Her head was tilted down just enough to keep me from making out her expression, but she couldn't hide the pink flush spreading across her cheeks. It contrasted well against her white, but not excessively pale skin, as did her jet black hair. I'm not seeing the scars, to be fair. Sorry, it's not anything nicer to look at. What? In what way was this not a pleasant sight? Yeah, what the hell? I had never been more entranced by anything in my entire life. She was stunning. I had no measure of comparison, but I was certain the same sight of any other woman in the world would not have had the same effect on me. I could say as much with confidence, despite having never seen another woman nude. Hypnotized, I couldn't take my eyes off the gentle curves of her body. Were I more socially inclined, perhaps I could have told her she was pretty, which perhaps would have brought a sheepish smile to her face. And though I wanted to, my throat was dry as dust, and all I could manage to produce were incoherent rasps. Oh, Michel. Please say something. I'm hideous, aren't I? I'm unclean. You're not hideous. You mean it? I mean it. Why would you think so? Because You are not unclean, not in the slightest. You mean it? I do. Even seeing this? Giselle's eyes slid downward, a trace of fear lurking just beneath the surface. Following her lead, I dropped my gaze to her lower body, and there I saw her scars. Swollen red and black gashes, still not healed after more than a year, defiled her white flesh. As she had described for me, the lines were arranged to form letters carved into her skin. Ah, so that's why she said I'd have to see them eventually. My instincts told me these were wounds she would carry for the rest of her life. I felt nauseous, heartbroken, infuriated at the fact that the person who had done this was out of my reach, at the fact that I could do nothing for her. What went through my father's mind when he looked at these? What did he gain from giving her these wounds? Why did he have to do this to her? Why my father of all people? Giselle was the one with the scars. Giselle was the one in pain. But I felt like someone had shoved a handful of needles into my chest. Dozens of thick metal stakes piercing the walls of my heart, blood streaming through me like a river. If I didn't force myself to face it, I was liable to run. What was the right thing to say? What was I supposed to tell her? As hard as I thought, I couldn't come up with an answer. All I came up with was intense frustration. It killed me that I couldn't take these scars from her, that I couldn't give my father a piece of my mind. You are in no way hideous, no matter what marks are left on your body. It took all I had to form that single sentence. Thank goodness, I'm so glad to hear that. When I was down in the village, they said it didn't matter what they did to me because I was already dirty. That made me think I had reached a point where I was so tainted. Anyone could see it. I'm sorry. Why should you apologize? You were frowning really intensely. I thought I may have made you mad. No, I am not angry at you. I'm angry at my father, the villagers, and myself. May I touch them? You may. My hands were trembling, but I knew I wouldn't be doing her any favors by hesitating. As soon as my fingertips brushed her skin, she shuddered. Does it hurt? No, there hasn't been pain in some time. I could feel her trembling where I touched her. It didn't seem like it was going to subside anytime soon. Soon she began whimpering softly. Her lips moved as though she was trying to say something, but the best she managed was a few strained gasps. Tears had begun welling up in her eyes as well. I feel like I'm in heaven right now, but I also kind of hate myself. Hate yourself? But why? Because I can't stop shaking. I'm overjoyed to feel your touch, but I can't control my body. I know you're nothing like that, but I keep seeing flashes of you doing other things in my mind. It kills me that my body won't react the way I feel in my heart. I was foolish to have ever thought these wounds might have healed. Just as scars remained in her body, so too did they remain in her heart. Unlike the physical wounds, though, the ones inside her seemed to still be raw and bleeding. She just did such a good job of acting normal that I had begun to think she might have gotten past them. Of course, you blind fool. You shoved me back there because it brought back those memories. That's right. I'm sorry. I'm really, truly sorry. Why are you apologizing? I should be the one. Do you have any desire to place a curse on him? What? Do you want to curse Antonin? If you so desire, I might be able to make it happen. Cast a curse on him, perhaps even a fatal one. Ignore the fact that he's my father. I don't consider that man family anymore. I want you to be honest with me. If hypothetically such a thing were possible, would you want to curse him? No, I would not want that. Why not? You have every right to take revenge. For what that man did, he deserves punishment. He inflicted so much pain on you. You're still shaking more than a year later, and you can just let him get away with it out of the goodness of your heart? Hypothetically, if you wanted to curse him, I wouldn't do it even hypothetically, and not out of the goodness of my heart. I'm just a coward. A coward? If curses were real, and he were to die by one, then I would never ever be able to forget. If my resentment for him took his life, that would mean he had damaged me so permanently I was never able to get past it. I don't want that. I want to be able to forget. I'm still shaking now, but one day I want to be able to proclaim proudly that it no longer has any control over me. But I appreciate the sentiment. Setting aside your choice of method, you asked out of concern, and that's more than enough for me. A soft smile spread across her lips, but all it inspired in me was powerlessness. He was putting on an act. Was the sentiment really more than enough? Of course not. Not when she was still trembling so much. But what was I to do? What was I, unable to leave this house and helpless against the will of the Bollingers, to do? I was incapable of assuaging her pain, wasn't I? I couldn't do anything. Could I? Before I throw in the towel, I need to take some real time to think. To stop running from the problem. To figure out a real way to give her what she wants. That doesn't involve curses and angry words. There has to be something only I can do. Giselle. I took the hand that had been tracing her scars and slid it around her waist. Even now, her trembling showed no signs of abating. I will never, the one thing I could do, hurt you again, was to wrap her trembling body in my arms. I want you here with me. All I ask of you for now is to be back at my side. You can be scared and you can quiver, but please don't apologize for it. Please don't feel bad about it. I promise not to turn my head away from your pain. So I ask of you, try not to keep it buried. I have no power or influence. I don't know all the right things to say. I'm a man with nothing to his name. But the one thing I do have is a heartfelt desire to do whatever I can for you. As soon as I tightened my grip around her waist, she lurched forward, throwing her arms around me. Muffled whimpers resonated against my shoulder where she had buried her head. Eventually, they grew into unfettered sobs. And my bedchamber was enveloped in the sound of weeping. She cried like a little child. The usually strong-willed, cheerful, optimistic Giselle wailed from the depths of her soul. This past year, she had constantly been nudging me forward. It was always her leading the way. There had undoubtedly been moments where she had wanted to cry like this, but couldn't. So, starting now, I was going to try and support her too. I was sure I would mess something up, as I had little experience being caring. I would probably anger her, probably stress her out, and probably make her cry. But I had found my resolve. I had overcome my hesitation. I was sure I could do it. That I could create a place where she could find peace. I could surely. Giselle didn't stop crying until the sun had begun peeking over the horizon. I had, as I said, not looked away, simply holding her in silence. She had a decidedly non-childlike frame, but she seemed incredibly small in my arms. We felt each other's warmth through my clothes. Between sniffles, Giselle said softly, "One day, I'm certain, I'll be able to, without any hesitation, be properly joined with you, and it will be wonderful. Right now I still can't control the shaking, but eventually I want to be able to put my hands on you too." The affection infused in each and every word was palpable. Some time later, she drifted off to sleep, exhausted. I prayed from the bottom of my heart that at least tonight she would have pleasant dreams. And I think, just going to switch to matte face, I think we're going to leave it there for now. Let me just save the game before I forget. Yes. Most recent. Let's go back. But yes. Well, that was intense. So they both super awkwardly admit their love to each other. And Giselle quite literally bears her scars to Michel. But it is, I mean, it's totally expected that she can't control her reaction like that, even though she loves him. And I wonder where this is going to go from here. Clearly, like Michel's thinking of a way to confront his father about this, make him get his comeuppance. But anyway, man, again, it's a lot to take in. We'll leave it there for now. This has been the House in Fata Morgana. I am Ash Mannix, and I'll see you hopefully next time. Bye bye.